This is Mela refugee camp where I grew up, and I was there. I went to school. And as Kate already mentioned, when I was 14 years old, my village was attacked by the Burmese army. And we were attacked with air bombs and air strikes. And each time the bombs dropped on the ground would shake. And as children, we were so terrified. And we were hiding in the underground bomb shelter, which was muddy and small. And we couldn't survive. My mother suffered from heart failure, but we didn't have any medicine, no doctor. And we had to flee, and we were walking and hiding in the jungle for months, and we could survive only a few things that we could carry on our back, and little food, and we had to find any food that we could find in the jungle. And eventually we ended up in refugee camp in Thailand, where thousands and thousands of people were put together, and we were not allowed to go out from the camp. And it was more like a prison camp, especially for young people. For me, I was very lucky because when I was in Mela refugee camp, I got a scholarship, which was very rare. Thousands and thousands of young people along Thailand-Burma border in refugee camps. They were eager for education. They knew that to change the situation in our country, we need to have education. But many didn't have the chance to go to school or university because we were simply stateless people. We have no identity card, no passport. For me, I was very lucky because I got a scholarship. And I came to Bangkok to study for 3 years. And again, I got further scholarship to study in the UK. And I did my MA in politics and development, which I found very useful in the struggle for freedom in my own homeland. And I've been living in the UK for 5 years. And I came as a student, and then because of my involvement with Burma Campaign UK, political activities, joining demonstrations in front of Burmese embassies, speaking out, I couldn't go back, either Burma or Thailand-Burma border. So I applied for asylum, and I got asylum 2 years ago, and I applied for the travel document. Using the UK travel document, I went back to Burma, only from the Thailand-Burma border, secretly, with politicians, journalists, and NGOs for them to see the situation themselves. And in 2008, January, I went back and I saw again the suffering of my people hasn't changed, hasn't stopped. It continues every day. The attack, the killing, the raping women, and the forcing people to work happen every day. We went through Solvin River, we crossed into the border, into Burma side. We visited people who were hiding in the jungle. They were telling us the story, how they escaped the attack, how the Burmese army planted landmines in front of their house, church, and village. It broke my heart. I want to see this suffering end in my country. And it also made me angry because international community knew what is going on, but they have done very little to help the people in Burma. And I was with my father. My mother died in 2004, and I was with my father briefly. And I survived 3 assassination attempts while I was there. The regime produced a hit list, and my father was the General Secretary of the Karen National Union, which is the main resistance movement for the Karen people. And my father, as he was on the top of the hit list, and also because they knew that I was there, and they also targeted me. And after 3 assassination attempts, I came back to the UK, and I was in the UK only for 4 days, and I got a call from the BBC World Service that my father was shot. I couldn't believe it. I was there with him. and he was shot. I called him, but I didn't get a response. And finally, my father was killed, assassinated. He was killed because he believed in freedom, because he believed in democracy, because he believed in equality. He believes that no matter what the regime has done to the people, no matter how suffering we have, we would never give up. And he knew that the Korean people and the peace-loving people will continue the struggle. And I told him to be careful. And he said he felt very old. And actually, for the first time, I saw my father as an old man when I went back to Thailand-Burma border. And he said even though the regime could kill him, they wouldn't be able to kill his spirit, which is democracy, human rights, and freedom, not just for the Korean, but for all the people in Burma. And I couldn't even go to his funeral because of the security reason. But I didn't give up. My sister and my brothers, we didn't give up. We continued the dedicated work that our mother and father had given us this opportunity. And we set up the Phan Foundation to promote education, to alleviate poverty, to preserve Korean culture, and then work with younger people in terms of education. And we continued their dedicated work. And I decided to write a book. And I named my book Little Daughter. That was how my father and my mother called me. And I dedicated this book to my parents. And I know thousands and thousands of people from Burma have been forced to flee from their homes. And I know in Canada you have around 10,000 or maybe less Burmese people and around 3,000 Korean refugees from Burma living in Canada. And I can assure you that these people, we want to see peace in our own homeland. We want to see democracy and freedom and basic human rights as the same as people in Canada here have. Freedom, that means where children can go to school, and when they grow up, they can go to university. And when they are sick, they can go to hospital. Farmers can work in their farm without being attacked by the Burmese army, without being forced to flee, and without being shot dead. Where people can express their feeling and their opinion in terms of religion and political opinions, social opinions, without being taken into prison. And I believe that one day my dream will come true. And my dream for Burma is where, regardless of our ethnicity, our religion, our gender, we all are equal and everyone is treated equally, and where we enjoy our basic human rights. And we want to go home, and myself, I want to go home, I want to go back, but because of the situation I can't, but I need your help. So please help us to go home. Thank you.